We are back live with you once again on another Johnny Torch live broadcast here on the only way to spend your Saturday here with us on Johnny Torch Live. Number 145 today, we have Torch News Roundup number 130 coming towards you. And if you're smart and savvy, you'll stay right where you are for the next hour or so. And we will bring you all the news, actually, all the news in the past 3 days, right? Because we did a broadcast on Wednesday to get us caught up. Because, as you may or may not know, I have been suffering from the effects of the flu. Yes, not fun. Not fun here up in Torch Tower, being bedridden for most of last week. But we are working at least at three-quarters capacity. So we're going to try to get you another Torch News Roundup here, as usual, on Saturday. Our usual Saturday afternoon broadcasts, about 5:18 in the p.m. here in the Northeast. And welcome in. So check out our link in the description below for The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. We'd like you to check out my new comic. The latest issue came out in December. Issue number 5 we're on now, in the middle of the When the Night Comes story arc, and I am eagerly working on finishing up issue number 6 to complete that story arc. And I've only got about 3 pages, I think, left to color in order to get it done. I'm coloring and lettering at the same time now, so it's each page is taking a little bit longer than it usually does, but we're getting it done a little more consistently instead of making me go back through the whole thing again. We're going to just do it all in one take. So that should be coming out pretty soon. And also check out the link in the description below for my Twitter page, where we can get together, talk about some of the stuff that goes on, like the my mini reviews for the DC CW shows, other stuff like Gotham. I'll try to give little mini reviews as I keep up with them. And we do poll of the week questions, which I haven't gotten a new poll of the week question up yet. But so definitely you'll check out the Twitter page when you have time. But for now, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. And let me see. I think I got the chat room open here in case anyone is in fact watching live. They used to be able to update me on the bottom of the page here that people were watching live. I can't tell anymore unless I look at the chat. I don't know if I have any live viewers. So if you're watching live, be sure to comment in the chat on these stories we're talking about. I always read my comments and the chat whenever applicable. Hopefully I don't lose my voice. And first off, speaking of chat and comments and so on and so forth, we've got a mailbag segment. We've got a mailbag segment because we got a comment just yesterday, as a matter of fact, from one of our fair viewers, Mr. Cedric House, yet again, has written to us. So thank you, Cedric, for watching. He commented on not our 144th broadcast, but the 143rd. So we'll go back about 2 episodes for that. I guess I was talking about how the future prospects for the MCU don't look that great, with the original Avengers going to be phased out. We only have the phase 2, or is it phase 3, I suppose, version of the Avengers probably going to continue on post Endgame. So Cedric says, the OG Avengers don't need to come back. Black Panther made $1 billion. Captain Marvel made $1 billion, which I don't think it quite made a billion yet, but it does seem a foregone conclusion. Captain Marvel's going to reach the $1 billion mark. Spider-Man is back on top of the MCU. Doctor Strange, a hit, and even Ant-Man. Shang-Chi will be a hit. Eternals will be a hit. There's far from a decline with all these new heroes. It's only going to go up even more instead of the stale same team of Avengers. Well, I can understand your point. I think you make a fair point because, as you've said, we do have history here on your sides saying the Black Panther is $1 billion franchise, Captain Marvel quite probably $1 billion franchise. Spider-Man is the flagship character of Marvel, so if it's not $1 billion franchise, it'll do. Um, but there is a problem, I think, when you try to stretch even the MCU's, great track record of doing solid with, fairly unknown properties. Like, for instance, we're talking about the Eternals, Shang-Chi. That's very inside baseball for, the normies out there that don't follow comics. Even I am not too up on the Eternals and that sort of cosmic side of Marvel. So that's not to say that it can't be successful, but I think you're going to find, especially, see, I'm a big opponent of the thought that the superhero fatigue is going to set in, and everybody's going to want to just turn off the superhero shows and not go to the superhero movies. I don't think that's going to happen, because particularly what you see happening over in DC now, where they are finally hitting their stride. They're sort of making do with the sort of their big name characters. They've made a success out of Aquaman, who is a household name. They've made a success with Wonder Woman. They've made a success with Suicide Squad, even though some people kind of want to dismiss that one. They're having success with sort of second tier characters. And when it's going to come, when push comes to shove, in other words, and you're going to have something like Shazam going up against Shang-Chi, I don't think DC is going to be too afraid to put their second tier superheroes up against Marvel's third tier. So, will they win at the box office if it comes to that, Marvel? I'm not sure, but they do have there's no doom and gloom. I don't think that, they do have a decent roster still to call from, such as Black Panther, even Doctor Strange, and so forth will be pretty formidable at the box office. It's only when we get further and further removed from those heroes, when we're working on the D list, the C and D list, which is Shang-Chi, Eternals. Um, I'm not sure exactly how far they can take it before it does get diluted without an OG representative of the Avengers, without an Iron Man, a Captain America. We'll see. We'll see. But thank you for writing in, Cedric. And anybody that writes in, of course, I always comment on your comments. And thank God for you watching. Otherwise, hey, what's the point? So I'll be sure to read any other comments that Cedric or any of the rest of you have if you leave a comment on one of my videos. Okay, so the most recent story broke just before I came online here, and it's trending that Emily Bett Rickards, aka Felicity Smoke slash Queen, is she a hyphenated? Is she a hyphenated character like West Allen? I don't think so. I think she's just Felicity. Well, no, she does have Smoke Enterprises, right? I don't know. I don't know how. It's kind of the woke thing to do, so I imagine she's probably Felicity Smoke Queen. But apparently, in a shocking move, now Arrow, as you all know, is for all intents ending next season. There's some possibilities of maybe something happening in the DC CW verse that would continue on the character of Arrow, maybe as Imiko, or maybe as a reoccurring appearance of Stephen Amell in a crossover or something. But for all intents, the show is over, and it was pretty much Stephen Amell's call. But apparently, it looks like also Emily Bett Rickards is not a big proponent of continuing on, because she is apparently leaving at the end of this season. Let's see. The copy I have here says TV Line has reached out to the CW to confirm that Arrow star Emily Bett Rickards is announcing that she'll depart the superhero drama ahead of its 8th and final season. Rickards posted the shocking announcement to Instagram on Saturday, which in part reads, "Felicity and I are a very tight two, but after 1 through 7, we will be saying goodbye to you." So this is very interesting. Like I said, this kind of singles to me that maybe Emily wanted to leave the show around the same time as Steven. And she kind of said, well, let me bow out a little early. I believe there's also talk that Katie Cassidy or Katie Cassidy Rogers, as she's now being introduced on Arrow, is also going to bow out at the end of this season, not to appear in next season. It's kind of strange. You would think that with only 10 episodes next season, they would kind of all want to go out on a high note, sort of leave the fans something positive to remember about the show, and not just sort of, I mean, what my biggest fear is that they're going to leave it on a down note, on a very dark, depressing note. If the flash forward in season 7 is something that they're going by, Felicity is going to survive, season 7 and 8. And it's kind of curious where they're going to leave Oliver because, well, it's not really spoilers because we don't know yet, but if you haven't seen Arrow, apparently Felicity is taking the blame for Oliver's death sometime in the future, something that some information we're not privy to yet. But, this, like I said, does come as a bit of a disappointment to me. If there's one thing I'm not going to miss on Arrow is the constant battle for supremacy between the Felicity fans / Elicity fans and the Black Siren Redemption fans, the Laurel Lance Deserve Better fans. Because, to be honest, I'm in the middle. I think that Arrow obviously catered to the Felicity fans a little too much. On the other hand, I think the ship sailed with Laurel, and there was really nothing else they could have done with her. They did a good job of finding a way to retain Katie Cassidy, and giving us a Laurel, if not the Laurel. So it was kind of the best of both worlds. But again, I'm not sure exactly what this is a prelude to. If Felicity is not going to be a part of season 8, that is very confusing and confounding, if I do say so myself. Let me know what you think in the comments below. A couple of years ago, I don't know, what is it now, 3 years ago, I did a video that was, pretty much, it's in my popular videos, but it sort of tried to navigate how Felicity failed Arrow, and how, by the same token, it's not the worst thing that happened to Arrow. It was sort of like a necessary move that they kind of went too gung-ho with. But how do you feel about this? How do you feel about the ending of Arrow? How do you feel about the possibility of a season, a brief season, but a season without Emily Bett Rickards as Felicity? It doesn't seem to fit. I don't really know what they're possibly going to revolve this last season around. I mean, we still have Team Arrow. I guess they could still use Renee and Dinah. I'm guessing John Diggle, David Ramsey, is going to stay with the show, but at this point, anything is possible. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below about the future of Arrow. Okay, so let's see. Next on my list here, I'm not going to prolong this any longer. Chris Evans has gotten on my last nerve, and I don't want to seem hypocritical, because in all honesty, I've been trying to keep on the fence all along with Brie Larson's SJW outbursts, and everybody's been outraged, and they got a lot of clickbait on doing videos about how she didn't want 40-year-old white men to review Captain Marvel, and so on and so forth. But there's a little something different, though, what's going on with Chris Evans. Because the difference between, and I'm very easygoing. I can divorce the personalities with the actors. I mean, quite frankly, I can't stand to listen to Mark Hamill on Twitter, but he's still one of my favorite actors and still gave one of the greatest performances in a film series that, I've ever witnessed in film history. So I can divorce the political leanings from the acting. That's fine. But the statements that Chris Evans has made at this point, I think, is embarrassing himself, and I think that it's sort of my duty to point this out to Chris and hopefully prevent him from embarrassing himself further. Now, there was a article in the Hollywood Reporter. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but these are the salient points that pertain to his grandstanding on Twitter and his political beliefs, which he is entirely entitled to. Don't get me wrong. I say my piece on Twitter. I try not to get too political both on YouTube or Twitter because that's not really where my interest lies. I believe you should vote a certain way. You should do, what your belief system beholds you to, and then you let it go and just continue on with your life. You don't really just continue to badger the political point. Okay, so in the article here it says, for what it's worth, he says, Marvel has never said anything. On the contrary, when I bump into Kevin Feige, the first thing out of his mouth is, man, I love what you're doing on Twitter. Feige says, I don't see it as trash talking. I see it as very astute, very honorable, very noble, very Cap-like commentary and questioning. I've said to him, you're merging. You and the character are merging. So again, this seems to be a very different Kevin Feige that we've become accustomed to in the past with all the movies he's made has been very apolitical. Even the Captain America movies have been very apolitical, and that's something that I think everybody gets behind and is happy that Feige didn't sell out to SJW-ness with the MCU. How it's going to be going forward, that has yet to be seen. But let's take a look at what he says here for a minute. Very astute, very noble, very Cap-like. You're merging. You and the character are merging. That to me does not seem applicable because Captain America has always been an apolitical character, as he should be. Captain America is not supposed to take sides in the political realm, in the political spectrum. He's supposed to appeal to Republicans. He's supposed to appeal to Democrats. He wasn't created like or imbued with a political agenda. Say, for example, in Green Arrow is meant to be a leftist because that was sort of the Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil, rebranding in the early 70s of Green Arrow and Green Lantern. And by that token, it was fair because Green Lantern was supposed to represent the conservative. He was supposed to be a Republican. He was supposed to be more for, traditional values, so to speak. So, there's an understandable dichotomy if you're going to do that with a character. Captain America was never meant to be that kind of character. He was supposed to be basically pro-America. He's Uncle Sam. He's not supposed to take sides in the political spectrum. So Kevin Feige saying that, Chris Evans taking sides in the political spectrum is becoming a merging with Captain America is completely false. And that's why this stuff is getting on my nerves because, again, there is a majority in the country who voted for Donald Trump. You can't say that this is some kind of bizarre happening. I mean, especially what this whole hoax with the Mueller investigation and everything also coming to an end. No wronghood has been done. A lot of Hollywood leftists are hanging their hat on getting Trump impeached, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon because they have no facts to back them up. So when you want to take issue with the president and try to basically have him ousted, you can't do that without offending half the population because at least over half the population has voted for him and is satisfied with him. because, of course, we're not talking popular vote. I'm not getting into that. The numbers are what the numbers are, but he still was elected. Um, let's see. Evans continued by saying, "You don't want to alienate half your audience, but I'd be disappointed in myself if I didn't speak up, especially for fear of some monetary repercussion or career damage. That just feels really gross to me." Come on. All of Hollywood is left leaning. It's not going to do him any harm. To try to do this virtue signaling like I'm going to take on, you know, half the country, even if they don't like it, you're not going to be in any danger. Everybody loves Captain America. Everybody loves the Marvel movies. It would be a different thing if he wasn't talented. That's what everybody's interested in, is just uh, watching his performance. Nobody really cares, I don't think, about his political views. But when I say that Chris Evans got on my last nerve, this is the point where he gets on my last nerve. Let's get to the final paragraph here, shall we? When asked if the chance to play Tom Brady in a biopic would bring him out of retirement, he looks grim. He says, "I don't know. I really hope he's not a Trump supporter. I'm just hoping he's one of those guys that maybe supported him and now regrets it. Maybe he thought it was going to be different, and even that bothers me. But maybe there's a chance now that he just thinks Trump's an absolute dumb bleep, which he is. If he doesn't, if he's still on the Trump train, I might have to cut ties. It's really tough. I think maybe a couple of years ago, I might have tried to pull some like mental gymnastics to compartmentalize, but I don't know if I can anymore. So I'm just hoping he's woken up." So this is the kind of stuff, that's the rhetoric that pretty much gets on my last nerve. So he is going to break off friendship with Tom Brady, or stop supporting Tom Brady as the history's greatest quarterback, as he is, because he is a Trump supporter. Now, first off, let's imagine if this was reversed. If the roles were reversed and people were saying, "I'm going to boycott Chris Evans because he supported Hillary Clinton." Would a lot of people support that statement? Would a lot of people say, that's kind of going a step too far? Can't you sort of divorce the person's political beliefs with the performance? But instead, basically, he's turning it back on us and those of us who are Trump supporters and saying, "I'm not supporting you. You can support me because I'm Captain America, but I'm not supporting you." So when you start hearing people that wanted to boycott Brie Larson, I get it. I totally get it. But the difference between Brie Larson, once again, and Chris Evans is Chris Evans is an NPC. Brie Larson is an SJW. I firmly believe there's a difference. Brie Larson is thinking that she's making the world a better place by her trying to get the rest of the country woke and bringing the diversity pitch and all that great stuff. Chris Evans is just walking the party line. He's just regurgitating what all other leftist Hollywood ideologues are saying. He's not saying anything new. He doesn't even know. If you were to confront him, he doesn't even know why he hates Trump. It's just the Trump derangement syndrome, orange man bad. Because I've been told by other leftists, he must be a racist, he must be sexist and homophobic or whatever. All because that's basically what he's been told to believe, and that's the party line. He's going to walk the party line. And that's, to me, what's more offensive than anything Brie Larson has said, because, Brie Larson gets a pass. She's another ideologue that's, she's trying to get the country woke and all that kind of nonsense. But basically, Chris Evans is offending an entire half the country by, basically saying he's not going to support someone who supports the president of the United States of America. And when did that become a bad thing in this country? When did it become a bad thing where you're not allowed to support your president? And it's like these beautiful people, these beautiful Hollywood leftists, somehow they know better than the common person, the person that gets out there and works every day and votes, and you know, they have to deal with the blue collar side of life, not the Hollywood jet set. And that's why a lot of people get turned off to these Hollywood celebrities, because it's just virtue signaling. You know what I mean? It's just, look how woke I am. I care more than you. And it just gets on my last nerve. I like I said, I've said before, I honestly, I'm willing to give up Captain America and the MCU if I don't have to put up with listening to Chris Evans and this nonsense anymore. He needs a dose of humility. Again, if this was, you know, not that there's any really conservative actors in America, but if this was a conservative actor saying that he was going to cut ties with someone over there voting for Obama, how far would they get? Wouldn't they be ostracized? And for Evans to come out and basically say that he's going to cut ties with Brady because he may or may not. I mean, you got to remember, Brady is as low key on his political views as anyone. I mean, he doesn't go out there and bang the drum for Trump. And, it's just not fair for one side of the political spectrum to be allowed to bang the political drum for one side and tell the whole rest of the country, you're wrong, you're a terrible person because you voted for someone who was legitimately elected the president of the United States of America. So again, I don't want to get on my soapbox any longer than I have to, but this was one that really pushed me. This one pushed my buttons. And like I said, just do your job, Evans. Come on. Just do your job and leave Captain America on a high note. It's getting harder and harder to really support the MCU the way things are going between Brie Larson, between Chris Evans, between Mark Ruffalo. It's one thing to sort of support your party, but don't offend the other side. You don't have to go out of your way to try to offend the other side in support of your own political beliefs. That's not necessarily going hand in hand. So again, don't want to get too political, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Evans overstepped it this time? You think he maybe would have should have dialed it back a little bit and went a step too far? Are they encouraging him a little too much there over in the MCU to just have diarrhea of the mouth? I don't know. Just let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll be eagerly monitoring the comments. All right, here's something a little more entertaining for our next topic. Let's see. We have the Hush animated movie. This is pretty cool. I always wanted to read this, and I never read it. And I've heard it's very good. Jim Lee and... oh, man, I forget who wrote this. Was it Grant Morrison? I think it was Grant Morrison. Let's see. On March 30th, Justice League versus the Fatal Five will finally be available on digital HD. And with its release nearly upon us, Warner Brothers Home Entertainment is gearing up to market their next DC Universe original movie, Batman Hush. To kick things off, Warner Brothers has officially revealed the movie's impressive cast. Among the list of stars attached to the film are several DC Universe veterans, such as Jason O'Mara as Batman. I really liked him on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wasn't as big a fan of his as the voice of Batman, but I don't know, he's growing on me. Jennifer Morrison as Selena Kyle, Jerry O'Connell as Superman, Rebecca Romaine as Lois Lane. So it's the real life couple, I think, of O'Connell and Romaine. They're married in real life, right? So they're playing Superman and Lois. Rainn Wilson as Lex Luthor, Sean Mayer as Nightwing, Bruce Thomas as Jim Gordon, Stuart Allen as Damian Wayne. That little twerp is in that. Oh, geez, that's great. Not a big Damian Wayne fan, I got to admit. I've got all the other videos that have to do with the Son of Batman storyline. Not really a big fan. And James Garrett as Alfred. Additional cast members include Maury Sterling as Thomas Elliot. I think that's Hush. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. Jeffrey Arind as the Riddler. Vanessa Williams as Amanda Waller. Vanessa Williams as Amanda Waller. Wow, really? Jason Spisick as the Joker, Adam Gifford as Bane. Wow, this is a star-studded cast. I mean, not necessarily the voice talent, but these villains. I didn't know that every single Batman villain was involved in the storyline. Dashi Alesso as Lady Shiva. Peyton List will play both Batgirl and Poison Ivy, and Tara Strong as a reporter. Now, that's interesting because I thought Tara Strong was known as playing Batgirl, and yet they gave Peyton List both Batgirl and Poison Ivy. Peyton List, of course, no stranger to Poison Ivy. She plays Poison Ivy on Gotham, right? And does a very good job, too. It'd be nice if she got a lot of those Gotham actors really were good, and I wish they would have got better. Like, I really wish they could have given Peyton List a Batman movie and where she could play Poison Ivy. And you could say that about a lot of them, too. She also played Golden Glider, of course, which she hasn't been called upon to return to that role, which is kind of disappointing because I guess with the apparent death of Captain Cold, they don't want to bring back his sister. I don't know. All right, so yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. How do you feel about the Hush animated movie? Sometimes these animated movies actually do a better job than the actual original comic, so it'd be interesting to see how this works out. All right, next up, let's talk about, we're talking about Marvel. Let's get back to that. Apparently, some casting news is in the works. We have Angelina Jolie is apparently the front runner for a role in the MCU's Eternals. According to The Hollywood Reporter, she's already signed on, so she is going to star in this film, apparently. Let's see. Angelina Jolie has signed on to star in Marvel Studios' The Eternals. However, details on her leading role are being kept under wraps. Plot details remain scarce, but The Hollywood Reporter confirms that a major aspect of the film will revolve around the love story between Icarus, a man fueled by cosmic energy, and Circe, who relishes moving amongst the humans. While Jolie's role hasn't been confirmed, the fact that she's been cast as the female lead would seem to suggest she may be playing Circe. Chloe Zhao is directing the superhero feature, which is based on the Jack King Kirby created comic series. You know, you got to have that King Kirby in the middle. With a script from the writing duo of Matthew and Ryan Firpo. Jolie recently wrapped Joachim Roning's Maleficent Mistress of Evil, which will open in theaters this October and will then star in Thea Sharrock's animated live-action hybrid, the one and only Irvin and Brenda Chapman's Come Away before suiting up in the Eternals. So, I don't know, I picked this picture because, I don't know, this was like 10 years ago, wasn't it? Alexander the Great. And it would be great if she looks like this, but in the movie. But Angelina Jolie has a habit of either looking really, really nice or looking like a 65-year-old heroin addict. but but I'm hoping more for the former in the Eternals, and maybe she looks something like this. There's also rumors going around, rumoring. We already heard that the lead actor they're looking for a gay lead actor, which is to supposedly play the lead character who will be gay. A lot of people are reporting, of course, this is all hearsay, and I don't know if there's any basis for this. A lot of people are saying the lead character will be Hercules, which it seems kind of strange in recent times that they're trying to move Hercules into being a gay character. From all mythology, and again, I'm not a authority on mythology, I've never heard Hercules being gay. In fact, I think in the original myths, he had a wife and children. He had a wife and daughters, I believe. Been a while since I looked through the ancient myths and stuff, but nothing about the character of Hercules really strikes me as being gay. So I don't know if they're finally going to introduce Hercules in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Why would you make him gay? I don't get it. Um, According to the copy here, Icarus and Circe are lovers, so apparently Icarus is not going to be this gay lead character. But again, yeah, it's kind of the wokeness it seems that Marvel's going through. Again, I don't really care about the Eternals, so this could be a disaster, and it really won't make much of an impact on my enjoyment of the MCU. But hopefully they're gonna do right by this property, because you don't really want to see Jack King Kirby's properties that he developed, getting the shaft. You want to see his stuff do well. So hopefully they're not going to just kind of, as I've said before, just try to play the woke card and virtue signal with one of Kirby's old strips. All right, next up, let's take a look at. This is kind of amusing to say the least, but apparently Channing Tatum's Gambit is still alive. You can't kill it with fire. You can't poison it. You can't draw and quarter it. This is basically the Rasputin of superhero movies. You think the Flash, even the Flash is on its last legs, as we did the story earlier this week. But Gambit, Channing Tatum is still possibly going to make the Gambit solo movie. Let's hear what they have to say. Recently, X-Men Apocalypse director Simon Kinberg attended the red carpet. Wait a minute. See, this is garbage tier. He didn't direct X-Men Apocalypse. That was Bryan Singer. See, I gotta correct the copy for you. Garbage tier. X-Men Dark Phoenix director Simon Kinberg attended the red carpet premiere for Jordan Peele's reboot of The Twilight Zone, where he was asked about the status of Gambit, the motion picture. All of the movies at Fox are being evaluated. I love the idea of Channing playing Gambit. I think we have a great script for it, and I think it's a role he was born to play. It's a character I grew up loving and I know the fans love, so I hope it will happen. There will be a lot of mixing and merging now, and I'm all for it and excited to see. So at least Kinberg is holding out hope for this. I don't know. I honestly don't think we need a Gambit solo movie. We got the Taylor Kish Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine. So we have seen him in live action. It's not like we haven't. From what I hear, they're going to reboot all the X-Men characters in the MCU. So we're not going to get McAvoy back. We're not going to get Lawrence. We're not going to get Fassbender. So I would imagine, Channing Tatum could still play Gambit if they choose to cast him, but it's going to look like a completely different script at this point, anyway, because they're going to have to fit it into the MCU. But are you still interested? Were you ever interested in Channing Tatum's Gambit? It's been in developmental hell for at least 6 years now, I think. Possibly longer. It seems like I've been covering the story since, I don't know. But let me know in the comments below if you think there should be a Gambit solo movie, or should they just abandon that project and hopefully put him in the MCU proper as a member of the X-Men. That's what I want to see in an MCU X-Men. I just want to see old school X-Men animated series cast. Just, that's it. Do it. All right, let's see. We got some casting news once again for Ghostbusters 3. Yes, Ghostbusters 3 is a go. And they're going with a Stranger Things type outlook, it seems. They're trying to go with very young stars, a very young cast here. The Hollywood Reporter has learned that Jason Reitman's upcoming Ghostbusters sequel has found its star in 12-year-old up-and-comer Mckenna Grace, who played Captain Marvel as a little girl in the Captain Marvel movie of this past month. She joins a cast that recently added Carrie Coon from Avengers Infinity War, who will play her mother, and Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, who will play her older brother. So again, this is kind of strange. Apparently, we are getting a direct sequel. This is Ghostbusters 3. Whether it will be called that is another story, but apparently this is taking place in the Ghostbusters timeline. And apparently we are going to get at least Dan Aykroyd back. We know that much. He'll do it for a song. Ernie Hudson probably will come back. Bill Murray is the big question mark. We don't, you know, he's been ambivalent to say the least about returning in Ghostbusters, but at least according to Dan Aykroyd, they think it's a possibility. And again, this is sort of like Ghostbusters: The Next Generation, where you can imagine they're going to hand off the proton packs, but again, they're handing them off to very young kids. These kids are like 10 and 12 years old. It's kind of surprising that they're going this young. Next Generation, by the way, Jason Reitman, of course, is the son of Ivan Reitman, the original director of the first two Ghostbusters movies. So they're keeping it in the family, and the Next Generation Reitman is taking care of it. All right. While plot details are understandably being kept under heavy lock and key, the film will be a direct sequel to Ivan Reitman's original Ghostbusters movies, and the story, which was penned by Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan, is said to follow four teenagers as they find themselves up against the paranormal. Again, these are pretty young. They're barely teenagers. She's 12 years old. This girl, I don't remember how old the other kid is, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to say the least, because you've got kids that are barely teenagers and you have the original Ghostbusters who are now senior citizens. I mean, it's not like we've got even 50-year-old Ghostbusters going to hand off the proton packs to these kids. We've got we've got Ghostbusters who are now applying for Social Security. I don't know. Film is expected Filming is expected to begin this summer, and Sony has already slated the film for a July 10th, 2020 release date. So, are you looking forward to Ghostbusters 3? Do you think this sounds like a promising endeavor, or is this just another sort of another shot at the goal that either is going to miss wildly or may knock it out of the park? I don't know. Let's hope it knocks it out of the park. Okay, this is something that another thing. I'm not gonna rebroadcast any of the last shows that I've done, but I did call this one. I did think pretty securely. I was pretty sure that Jai Courtney was going to return as Captain Boomerang in the Suicide Squad, or Suicide Squad 2, if you prefer, which I prefer. It makes it a little easier to remember that this is the sequel. Okay. While James Gunn's The Suicide Squad has been described as a total reboot, and again, these things are garbage tier. They didn't even know what a total reboot is. This is basically a sequel that is, I guess you would probably call this the soft reboot, which means they're not going to tie too tightly to the original storyline. But, it's sort of James Bondian, where you don't really refer back to the previous movie or any of the previous movies in the franchise. That's basically what a sequel is. Um, that's like a sequel, a franchise sequel. A sequel means that the original film or other films in the franchise did happen, but nothing in this film really is tied to that. Like, for instance, I'm sure the Enchantress has nothing to do with it. If anything, it's going to still be run by Amanda Waller, which is very strange that they haven't confirmed her casting. Um, oh, I just had the actress name on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember right now. But she was very good as Amanda Waller, and they really should get her back. But let's see. According to the copy here, it seems like James Gunn may not be straying as far from the first installment as originally thought. In a new interview, Jai Courtney was confirmed that he will return as Captain Boomerang in the sequel/reboot, and this does actually make sense. Because, he was one of the highlights of the film. I mean, he was the comedy relief, really. Harley Quinn being the star, I would say, Will Smith being the co-star, but Jai Courtney was the comedy relief. And I could see very easily that he would be able to fit back in very nicely into that role for the sequel. Also, you have to remember that when it comes to, storyline, I could see him working easier on the team than, say, bringing back Killer Croc or Katana. He seemed like he was the one with the least options of them in the film, in the original film. Will Smith was courted to return as Deadshot before scheduling conflicts resulted in Idris Elba replacing him. Which, again, I don't know. Is that more than we know? Is he going to be playing? Is Idris Elba playing Deadshot? I'm not sure. All right, so Jack Courtney said, "We're getting ready to shoot in a few months' time. There's not much else I can reveal about it, but yes, you'll be seeing Boomerang back for sure. I'm happy. It's going to be fun. It'll be different for sure, but it's going to be great." So that's a load off my mind. I think that, like I said, he was one of the more enjoyable characters. He's certainly one that I would welcome back. From the sound of it, like I said, they're using most of the same characters, even if not the same actors. I think the only ones that, like I said, were for sure not going to come back is probably Rick Flag, Enchantress, and probably Katana. They're the ones that I'm for sure won't come back. Killer Croc was sort of on the fence, but I think that's more something that it's a little difficult to realize him in live action, and they probably want to throw in a couple of new characters just to give us some more cannon fodder, if nothing else. So let me know what you think. Do you relish seeing Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang? I think everybody liked him for what I remember. Let's see. Oh, I'm looking at the chat room. We do have somebody in the chat room. Evan says he ruined G.I. Joe. I'm guessing you're talking about Channing Tatum, right? Channing Tatum. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Those G.I. Joe movies, I didn't have a problem with them that much, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see him as Gambit. To be honest with you, I'd rather have Taylor Kish back. He kind of embodied that character more. I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but he kind of, it felt to me a little more like what I expect from Gambit. I didn't really see Channing Tatum as Gambit. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. All right, so let's see what else we got here. All right, we've got the DC universe is doing their version of Stargirl, and this is a character that they already showed on Legends of Tomorrow, but this is going to be a completely different, completely removed, um, interpretation of the character, so to speak, or incarnation of the character, whatever way you want to phrase it. Let's see. This is the first photo of Breck Bassinger from School of Rock, which I'm guessing that's from the TV show version, because I don't watch TV show version. I love the movie, though. That's one of my favorite comedies. Breck Bassinger, I'm going to guess, is related to Kim Bassinger. I don't know. This is the first photo of Breck Bassinger suited up as Stargirl, Courtney Whitmore's superhero alter ego from the upcoming DCU series, which has now been confirmed to premiere in 2020. In addition to Bassinger, the cast will also feature Joel McHale, Henry Thomas. Henry Thomas, isn't that the kid from E.T.? I'm not sure. Lou Ferrigno Jr. Lou Ferrigno Jr. Wow, that's pretty cool. Meg DeLacy, Angelica Washington, Yvette Monreal, Christopher James Baker, Jake Austin Walker, Amy Smart. Oh, Amy Smart. Last seen on MacGyver, I believe. Neil Jackson, Hunter Sansone, Trey Romano, and Luke Wilson. Plus, they've announced a pair of eagerly awaited premiere dates. First, Swamp Thing, the live-action series, which stars Andy Bean and Crystal Reed, last seen in Gotham, will premiere on May 31st, and then Young Justice Outsiders will return with the back half of Season 3 on July 2nd. So, yes, that sounds pretty cool, huh? That's we got some release dates there. That's pretty cool. I don't know a whole lot about Stargirl, so I don't know. Swamp Thing, like I said, I always wanted to get into the original Swamp Thing, the original TV series. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. Both movies, really. There was a direct-to-video sequel, and I like to refresh my memory on Swamp Thing. But yeah, I think this is going to be more of a serious, dark take and so on. But one of these days, I'm gonna check out DC Universe. I'm pretty excited about that. So we'll check that out whenever we check it out. Anyway, let's see. Last but not least here, I think this is our last topic of the day. We've almost gone about an hour, but we've got a lot of behind the scenes shots of Birds of Prey, and we're gonna take a look at some of them. We've been following the Birds of Prey behind the scenes photos for a long time. And this is Harley Quinn in a familiar costume. I think this is pretty much her default costume for this movie. And she's got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 margaritas or something there. I don't know. I'm not a big drinker, so I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it's got a lime in it, so I'm guessing it's a margarita. And she looks like I don't know, she looks like she's more like in a McDonald's or something, or a Burger King. I don't know. But maybe this is her peace offering to the Birds of Prey. I don't know. Very, very interesting to say the least, how that fits in. Next, let's see. We have. This is this might be taken from the same scene because she's wearing the same outfit, but it looks like quesadillas and enchiladas, chili verde or whatever. So she looks like she's in like a Taco Bell or something. And I don't know what this machinery is over here. That looks more like it's probably camera equipment. It's a behind the scenes photo. So that looks like that scene takes place over there, some in that same locale. Let's see. This is yet another look for Harl. She misses those suspenders so much that she spray painted them on that t-shirt. Yep. And she's got that whole disco pants thing going, which is really cool. Looking very nice. All right, let's see. And we've got a shot of her with Cassandra Cain behind the wheel of like a 70s, whatever that is. I don't know. I don't know cars from a hole in the wall, so I don't know. But Cassandra Cain looking pretty gangsta, looking kind of gangsta. And allegedly that's Harley Quinn. I don't know. Maybe you can't see her face from there, but I imagine that's not the stunt double if they're going to try to get a close-up shot like they have there. And the most interesting, we've got a couple of images here that suggest the Joker is indeed in the movie. Now, this is something else I said they needed to have. And it's also something that I remember I said that I was hoping they would do it like Odd Couple style, where it would be like Felix's wife handing him the frying pan out the door. And this looks like it's almost what I was imagining, where it looks like the Joker is just throwing all her stuff out the window. And he's finally fed up with her for some reason. But that's what we need. So I don't know if this was a late addition to the script. Maybe they heard me and they understood that you don't just give a throwaway line to say why Harley's broken up with the Joker. You kind of need that to be a scene. You need that to have some kind of resonance in this. When you last left them in Suicide Squad and there were a couple, you kind of can't pick up in the next movie with them being on the outs. So it looks very much like Joker is throwing all her worldly belongings out the window. And I can't see what this is, but apparently she's trying to catch some kind of doll figurine or something. Not sure exactly what it is. It looks pretty heavy. It looks like it would hurt her if you actually did land it on her, but I don't know. And of course, from what we can see, it's not apparent that this is Jared Leto by any means. We don't really know if they're actually going to show the Joker's face or they're going to do, like I said, an Odd Couple thing where his face is obscured and it's just you see him throwing things out a window. I don't know. I'm seriously hoping that it's going to be Jared Leto. He's kind of wearing an outfit that is more reminiscent of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, but you could tell they're kind of trying to make it look like the Jared Leto Joker, which, like I said, it's needed. I think you need this as the connective tissue. And yeah, so that's about it. She looks, I don't know, she looks kind of pleased here, considering this is the aftermath of all that. And of course, this apparently she's wearing the same outfit which she's taking her worldly possessions in a carriage, in a shopping cart. If you've seen a couple of weeks ago, we did that video. So let me know what you think. Is this a good move? Is this going to be, you know what they could be doing also? They could be doing a distance shot, and when they can book Jared Leto, they'll actually do the close-ups with Jared Leto. I think that's what they're going to do, really, because he's probably going to cameo. I bet he's also going to bookend the film with a cameo at the end of the movie, and they're going to sort of make up. But Jared Leto is a little bit busy right now because he is starring in Morbius. And we actually got some images of that. It looks like he's in prison in the Morbius movie, and he's on the phone outside of, I guess, the prison. He's walking around. This would kind of explain why he, had a scheduling conflict, but seeing as how he's not going to be in the movie proper, it kind of makes sense that they can show him from a distance and then maybe just plug one or two scenes of him in close up there in that scene when he's finished filming Morbius. They said that Jared Leto had in his Twitter account, he responded to those scenes of Joker in the window by showing a small clown face, which I don't have the image that he posted, but some are also suggesting that that's more confirmation that he's not quite done as the Joker, that he probably will be filming those close-up cut scenes at some point in the future, because although they're saying that Birds of Prey is almost wrapped, they could get him back for pickups, I'm sure, at some point. And here's the other image we have of Leto. It's probably a stunt double, but this is apparently him already transformed into a vampire where he's flying. Morbius, Michael Morbius, flying around in his prison jumpsuit. They also had a shot of a van that said Craven on it, which I'm not sure if that was supposed to suggest that Craven's going to be in this film, as an antagonist or something, or if that was just a name drop, which it probably was just a name drop. But I'm not sure about this. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think about the Morbius movie? Is this something we really need also? I'm not sure. I'm not sure we really need a Morbius movie. I mean, I kind of got to give Sony credit for trying to, like the old saying goes, make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. I mean, they don't have a very good hand. All they have is, I guess they have 20 to 30 villains that they can use, and they're trying to make a film franchise out of it. But at some point, you have to kind of wonder, are they going to be able to use Spider-Man? I mean, are they going to be able to stick Spider-Man in a Venom 2 or a Venom 3 or a Morbius 2 or a Craven movie? At some point, there's only so much you can do with Spider-Man's villains. You know what I mean? Excuse me. All right, so let's see. I think that is officially all the news there is, and we did get a full hour out of two broadcasts this week. I hope you enjoyed both of them. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. And make sure you comment below. And thank you to Evan, who is in the chat. Thank you for joining us live. And, of course, join us live every Saturday afternoon. And I'm going to try to get back on schedule of doing a second broadcast in the middle of the week. It's difficult because sometimes there's not enough news to do a news show twice a week, but I got to get some lists done, some ranking videos. Got to get back to doing some soapbox rants. Those are always fun. So, yeah, got to get some of that stuff going. And make sure you remember I'm going to be doing the Shazam review. A lot of people already got to see it early. You know, I'm a blue collar guy. I got to see it when it's out like everybody else. But we'll be doing the Shazam review probably, I don't know, maybe next Wednesday. So no, the Wednesday after it comes out, which would be the 5th, right? So yeah, we're looking at probably 2 weeks. But until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.